Manchester United 0, Liverpool 3. With a brace from Luis Diaz and a goal from Mohamed Salah, Liverpool went past Manchester United and won the game at Old Trafford. With Arne Slot giving Liverpool a perfect start to their Premier League campaigns, Ten Hag has lost his first two games out of three. With Rashford and Casemiro being scapegoated for the loss, and Alexander Trent-Arnold making an iconic celebration of Gerrard only to find his goal disallowed. We have a lot to discuss in the game as it unfolded. Let's get right into it. So welcome to Football Pundit, and without any further ado, let's get started. Even after spending a considerable amount of money in the transfer market, Manchester United and Erik ten Hag's team have not been able to start their Premier League campaign properly, with two losses in the first three games as we hit the international break. The story of defensive shambles continue for Manchester United, as all the three goals that Liverpool scored have led from an error from either their player or either a pass misplaced by the player. Even with no Maguire on the pitch, the defensive shambles have continued for Manchester United, with all the three goals coming from defensive mistake. Two of them came where the player was shouldered off and countered, and Liverpool scored the goal. And one of them was where Casemiro directly misplaced a pass which led to the first goal for Manchester United. Now, unfortunately, Casemiro was subbed at halftime. It was not a good experience, and there were reports that he left the stadium at halftime. However, it was later clarified that he didn't leave the stadium at halftime, even being subbed off. He was there watching the match, and he left along with the players after the full-time whistle had gone. So those errors were floating in Twitter, where people were suggesting that Casemiro had left the stadium at halftime, but that is not true. It was an impressive performance from Liverpool and Arne Slot teams, where they made sure not to concede a goal. They were putting in high press. They were trying to intercept balls that were being played by Manchester United and mostly hit them on counters, and they were lethal in that. Now, unfortunately, Casemiro didn't had a good game on the pitch and off the pitch, on social media and on Twitter, by a lot of Manchester United fan blogs and other websites. He was the center of the target along with Marcus Rashford. With Casemiro not playing well and the stats not favoring him, it was not a pleasant day on social media for him. With Casemiro is the first player to make multiple errors leading to goal and to have dribbled past multiple times in a single Premier League game in the last 8 seasons, and he did all that in just one half. Now, he wasn't getting any defense from any of the ex-players or any of the pundits. So his partner came in on Instagram in order to support him, and she shared a picture of all the Champions League trophies and the other countless trophies that he has won in his entire career, which is a testament to his extraordinary champions mentality and the things that he has won over the course of his career. Now, there was one quote from Carragher where he said Casemiro should leave football before football leaves him. Now, I personally feel that his form has dipped from the past season, and he might need to be used more as a squad player. And now with Ugarte coming in, this sounds more like a feasibility, and Erik ten Hag should be able to do that more often. But he is still a very good defensive midfielder, and given the right set of form and right set of games, he could prove a very vital player for Manchester United this season as well. But this is for Erik ten Hag and Manchester United to see how to play him in his strength areas, where now with the age that he is in, he's not able to run around the pitch or doesn't have the pace that he had during his earlier days. So he might need to be used more as a squad player. That will benefit him and Manchester United as well. Now let's look at the goal and how it happened. If you see on the picture on the left side, you have the first goal where Casemiro misplaced a pass and it was picked up by Szoboszlai, where they countered quickly, and the first goal was there from Luis Diaz with a perfect header. The second goal again came in where Casemiro was shouldered off and Leopold took the ball from him, and again with a specific counter there was a goal again for Luis Diaz. Now this is the one that is not talked about much, even though there is hate for Casemiro and Marcus Rashford, which we are going to talk about in later part. There is no calling out for Kobbie Mainoo. I understand that he is just 19-year old, he is just getting the feel of the Premier League, he is still stepping up, and maybe we should not criticize him. But there was nobody who called out for a fault by him where he just gets shouldered off by Szoboszlai. The ball he loses, there is a quick counter, and Salah scores the goal. As much as I don't want to blame Mainoo here, but he is at fault and it needs to be called out. If all the other pundits and all the other big Twitter channels and YouTube channels are calling Casemiro and Rashford for their mistakes, this needs to be called out as well. Now this is some horror stats for Manchester United fans. In the last 10 games that Liverpool have played against Manchester United, the aggregate score on how much they scored and how much they conceded is 29-6, which is staggering. The amount of goals Manchester United have conceded and only hit 6 past Liverpool. On the right side, you see the goal which Salah scored where the ball was nicked off from Kobbie Mainoo and he scores a wonderful goal. But the main point that I wanted to address here is, you look at Andre Onana's positioning. Salah is just about to shoot the ball. His positioning is towards the extreme right, if I'm Onana, on the right side of his goalpost, where Salah hits to the extreme right. The amount of gap that you see and the amount of space that you have for Mohamed Salah to shoot, he will score every day, every time. And because of his positioning, Onana doesn't even get a hand on the ball while he is trying to do a full stretch dive in order to save the ball from going in the back of the net. He doesn't even lay a hand. The earlier 2 goals, I could maybe excuse Onana from it, stating that maybe he was not at fault with his positioning. But this goal, he definitely, if it would have been at the center, he could have definitely stopped Mo Salah's goal. The amount of space that he has given for a world-class player like Mohamed Salah is truly mind-blowing for a world-class keeper like him. Now let me show you some of the tweets from one of the main accounts, that is by Mark Goldbridge, on some of the things that he said on Twitter, where there is a guy named Martin. I understand that it's not his real name, but he said this is against Rashford, where he said Marcus Rashford has started 13 games and scored 3. Anthony has started 7 games and he has scored 3. When Mark Goldbridge said absolutely going to get behind the team and the manager, we can discuss the selection later. Rashford needs to repay the absolute relentless faith this manager has in him. Then he goes again to say Maguire for Delete, incredible, and he doesn't say in a good sense. And the other guy here is saying Mbappe may have scored 2 goals during the weekend, but we made 2 good crosses. These are levels to the game. Now, as far as my understanding, Marcus Rashford was the only player who created 2 good chances, which ideally Zerski should have taken it. Now, many of the players would say that Zerski needs time to settle down, and I agree with that point. He might still need a favorable run of games and maybe then start questioning him. But still, a striker with 23 years of age, he's not 19, he's not 20, he's 23. So for a striker of 23 years of age, he should have at least buried one of them. Now these 2 chances, even if one of them would have gone in, the game could have turned completely different, as the crowd at Old Trafford would have got behind the team. The situations could have changed, the morale could have gone up with just 1 goal. But unfortunately for Manchester United, it was not supposed to happen and the goals didn't go in, and all those 2 crosses were not given the right amount of value that it should have got. So for my understanding, rather than using Rashford as a scapegoat, Casemiro, I do understand where he made 2 complete blunders. He should be called out, but so should Mainoo. And there is a line which Mark Goldbridge wrote were Maguire for Delete. Now, just to put that into context, after Maguire came in for Delete, Liverpool didn't score even a single goal after that. So all the 3 goals that were conceded, it was when Delete and Martinez were there as a centre back pairing. Now, I'm not saying Delete is a bad player or Delete should be questioned out, but we should look into these things as well. In the Brighton's game, the late winner that Brighton had, Maguire was not there on the pitch. It was Delete and Martinez. When is Mark Goldbridge going to call out these 2 players? Maybe Delete, it is a bit early. He has just joined in. He might need some time to settle. But what about Martinez? He has been there. This is his 3rd season in Manchester United, and just blocking the play just by putting in a few good tackles, but positioning was failing, which is costing Manchester United the goals. It is not the sign of a world-class defender, or not what Manchester United fans would like to see from Martinez. So start calling out those people as well. As I say, Onana, even though he came in as a world-class keeper, I am not seeing anything that should level him up on those ranks. He has been an absolute disgrace for a lot of the goals that have been conceded, and he should have done better for the 3rd goal as well in this game. So Mark Goldbridge, all the other fan accounts, stop blaming or singling out players for the mistake. It was a collective bad performance from most of the players at Manchester United. Bruno didn't had a good game. Mainu didn't had a good game. Garnacho was not having a good game. All the defenders were not having a good game, and Onana as well. So why are we singling out just Rashford and doing a hate work on social media for him? This is not acceptable, and this is not something that should happen. You are right to call that Marcus Rashford has not been having a good season. He has not been pulling out trees, but so are the other players. Other players are also not pulling out any trees at all. Now, we did see a 20-year-old Toby Collier on the pitch coming on after halftime when Casemiro was substituted. Unfortunately, the game was flowing so fast, Manchester United players could not take control of it, and a young kid who was his debut game was not able to shine as well. But I'm still happy that he got some minutes, and it would have done him some good to play in a fixture like this. We also saw a goal disallowed in the first half. That was the first goal that was scored by Liverpool by Trent. It was disallowed for offside, but he did went onto the camera and revived the iconic celebration that long back Gerrard did while kissing the camera. He did that as well, but only to see his goal get disallowed. So it was good to see that he kissed the camera at Old Trafford, and then minutes later his goal got disallowed. It was something nice to see. In terms of the overall statistics, Manchester United didn't had a good game. We all know that they were overrun in the midfield by Liverpool. They did start the game on the brighter side, where we were trying to push Liverpool, trying to put pressure on them. But as soon as Liverpool were getting the ball, they were easily able to pass United midfields and attack them. So it was not helping. I don't know about the tactics, but the midfield was completely overrun by Liverpool, with United having an XG of 1.36 to Liverpool 1.79. Big chances 3 to 6. And this is the interesting one. You see, the amount of saves that Onana made is absolutely 0 in the whole game. He should have at least stopped Salah's goal, but unfortunately it was not to happen. He made 0 saves in the whole game. There was one goal that was disallowed by Trent, so that helped maintaining the scoreline to 3-0. On the other side, Alisson made 3 saves. Then in terms of corner kick, it was 5-2. In terms of passes, it was 507 to Liverpool's 484. In terms of tackle, it was a total of 32 tackle to 24. In terms of foul, it was pretty even to 7-7. So in terms of these things, but it does look a bit even in terms of passing and everything, and in terms of position. But unfortunately, United were not able to take control of the game, and Liverpool absolutely dominated it. So in terms of the SofaScore rating, Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes were the highest rated players, along with Mazraoui on the right back. All the other players, if you have to ask me, I say they had a pretty poor game, with Garnacho, Casemiro, Mainu, Dalot, Martinez and Delete. So they were not helping the team. They were not doing anything that could help Manchester United gain back control in the game, which was missing throughout the game. And with Marcus Rashford creating the only two chances in the game that were there. Now, like I said earlier, if any of those chances were actually taken clinically by Zerski, the game could have had a different outcome. But unfortunately, it was not to be, and the game resulted in a 3-0 loss for Manchester United. In terms of Liverpool, Luis Diaz, Mohamed Salah, Dominic, Gravenberch, McAllister, they all had a fantastic game. They completely dominated the midfield, with United's defense having to do one of the least amount of work that they would have done in the previous two games. So I think it was a complete dominant performance by them. The only player who I think had a bang average game was maybe Diego Jota, where he couldn't link up with all the other players properly. But all the other players stepped up for this really big game at Old Trafford and give Liverpool and Arne Slot the much needed win. Now, in terms of the SOFA score rating for Marcus Rashford and Casemiro, Rashford did get a 7.0 because of the two chances that he created, and Casemiro had a rating of 5.1. It could have been lower because the initial two goals were his fault. Now, in terms of touches and in terms of accurate passes for Marcus Rashford, it was 33. For crosses, it was 4 crosses. 2 of them were really good crosses and they should have been converted by Zerski. Long balls, there were 2 shots on target. He didn't had any shots on target. Shots blocked because he couldn't take, so there are 0. Dribbles, he had 5 attempts of dribble with successful 2. In terms of Casemiro, he didn't had any key passes. He tried 5 long passes with only 1 successful. In terms of shot blocked, he couldn't block any of the shots and Onana couldn't even lay a hand on one of the shot. So they were not shots saved from Onana, not shots stopped from any of the players. So I don't know what to say, but take it as you will. In terms of Erik Ten Hag, when he was asked by a journalist that the problem in his coaching and maybe not in the players, are you sure? I don't think he really had a heated argument with the journalist this time, as the journalists were drilling him on the mistakes that are happening from the players that he has bought. So if you need to remember, United have spent one of the most amount of money in this transfer window, and even though they are not performing at the level that they should. So Erik Ten Hag said, are you sure? I don't think so. Or you wouldn't win trophies like we did or beat big opponents. I'm sorry for you. After City, we have won the most trophies and I'm sorry for you. So what he said was typically where he said that after Man City, Ten Hag has won the most amount of trophies with the current serving managers. Now with Arteta only having won one FA Cup and maybe a couple of Community Shields, so that only makes one actual trophy. And with Erik Ten Hag having won the Carabao Cup in his starting year and the FA Cup the last year with the most amount of trophies. When Erik Ten Hag was asked about being booed by the Manchester United fans for taking off Garnacho and not Marcus Rashford, so he said the same thing. Well, first of all, he created 2 big chances for Zerski, and that is what you have to acknowledge. Second, it was Garnacho's and Zerski first start, and he can play as a centre forward. When he was asked about Casemiro, he said he showed so often that he is a great character. We all have seen great moments from him. He will show it again and bounce back. When Erik Ten Hag was asked about how does he see his season ending, he said that at the end of the season he will be surely lifting trophies, and he thinks that they will be lifting more trophies this year. And he said that when it happens, everybody will be there to see. So let's hope for the best for Manchester United and for Erik Ten Hag. But right now, it all looks very gloomy. If the results like this continue to happen, I think Ten Hag is looking maybe close to Christmas till he will be sacked at Manchester United. So people, that is the video then and there. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section on what do you think is going wrong at Manchester United. Are they the players? Is it the manager? Is it the tactics? Or is it the bad run of form for some of the key players for Manchester United like Rashford, Bruno and others? What do you think should change at Manchester United? Do you think Ugarte is going to prove his point when he comes as a defensive midfielder in place of Casemiro? And let me know what other thoughts you have. So thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And thank you.